These hands represent the hands of God as they create the world and everything that is. The hands of God create the earth. He holds the earth in his hands. And he created the sky. And the earth was empty and had no form. And God created light. And darkness covered the ocean. And God saw the light that it was good, and so he divided the light from the darkness. God named the light day and the darkness night. Evening passed and morning came, and this was the first day. On the second day, God said, "Let there be something that would divide the water into two parts." And it separated into two layers. There's the two layers. Water at this first level, on the surface of the earth. And God put air in between the two layers of water. And he named the air sky, so that there was water on the surface of the earth, and there was a second layer of water above the earth. Evening passed, morning came, and this was the second day. And then God said, "Let the water under the sky be gathered together, so that the dry land will appear." And he created the sun, which shed its light on the earth. The rays of the sun came down onto the earth. And God made the moon, and the rays of the moon came down to the surface of the earth. And he made the stars also. And the light was for times, and for years, and for seasons. And evening and morning, it was the third day. On the fourth day, the water of the seas pounded against the surface of the earth. which which made the dry land appear. And trees grew. And flowers. A root would spring up and blossom into a beautiful flower. And another root would become a plant or a tree. And grass grew all over the surface of the earth. And the blades of the grass moved in the wind. And the trees received nutrients which came up their bodies, filled up their leaves, and fruit began to grow from each branch. And all over the surface of the earth there were trees. And their leaves would fall and they would grow. And birds would lodge in the nests. And the evening and the morning was the fourth day. Sun shone on the ocean, and God created animals in the sea like a starfish falling to the surface of the ocean. Here's a starfish. And the starfish would move along and be alive. On the surface of the ocean, you could see down in there that there were jellyfish. And here was a jellyfish. In fact, here were two jellyfish. And God made fish to swim under the sea. And sharks with fins that broke the surface of the water. And God made the dolphin to swim under the sea and jump up out of the water and splash back down. And each animal was able to produce more of its own kind. And there was the mighty whale. And as the whale came up, its back and tail would come out of the water and splash. God made birds like the eagle and the dove. Here's the dove. And here's the eagle. Flying in the majesty of God's creation. Imagine a tree that God made. The bird comes to the tree, lands on the branch, and looks around. God made it so the bird would have more birds, like an egg that breaks. And the baby bird comes up hungry out of the egg. The mother bird comes and feeds the baby. And the mother bird finds food and continues feeding the baby. And all the eggs hatch, and there's many baby birds. And so the mother has to fly and find more food for them. In the evening, in the morning, or the fifth day. And God said, "Let the earth be filled with animals." Like the cow. And another cow. And how a cow eats, look at its mouth. Two cows. And God made animals like rabbits. And the rabbits would skip and jump through the fields and run around and play. And God made other animals, like dogs, that would bark and wag their tails. Wagging their tail. And the dog would run and have its life, and God made other creeping creatures, like bugs. And finally, He made man. And He named the man Adam. And he could walk. And he would see the creation of God, the trees that God had made and the animals that God had made, like the cow and the rabbit. And the ocean, and the fish in the ocean, and the dolphins in the ocean. And everything that God had made, Adam saw. And as he walked along through the trees, he saw things and it was not good that he was alone. And so God took from Adam a rib. And from that rib, God created a woman. And her name was Eve. And Adam was very happy and jumped up and down and showed Eve everything that God had made. And the two walked together and saw the dogs and the rabbits and the cows and the ocean and the fish in the ocean and the dolphins and the whales. And they walked along happy together through the trees. And they saw things like how the trees grew, and they enjoyed God's creation. And that the trees were good for food. And so Adam and Eve continued to enjoy God's creation. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. The seventh day, God looked at everything that He had made, and it was holy. In fact, it was a holy land. And God rested on the seventh day. And there was peace. And year by year, as the people multiplied and filled the earth, there came a day when God made a cross and people came marching in to a place where they could pray and sing and preach the Word of God. And they learned about a person named Jesus, who was so wonderful. The end.